Wow, that was probably the best MotoGP race I've ever seen. I don't know whether I could ever see anything more exciting than that. That was, run out of superlatives for how great that race was. If you haven't watched it, probably don't want to keep watching here. You don't want to spoil it for yourself, but what an incredible MotoGP race it was. I actually missed the Moto2 and Moto3 races, which are apparently both superb as well, so that's really good for MotoGP to have 3 great races in one day. But I'm going to quickly run through this race because the turn of events and everything that just happened was absolutely insane. It's just like it was made like for a Hollywood film. It was that crazy. So starting off, obviously, Dovizioso on pole, looking like a good race for him, possibly going to maybe have a chance for a victory. But down to turn 1, Scott Redding has also had a front row start as well. He had a really good start, runs down into turn 1, he takes the lead, but runs wide, unfortunately, over the sort of AstroTurf on the outside, loses a whole heap of positions, and unfortunately for him, that puts him quite far down the order. But he does start to fight back throughout the rest of the race, and somebody we did notice straight away that had a really good start and was maintaining his pace and actually improving was Yoni Hernandez, who you're seeing on your screen right now. He had a really good start, moving up a whole heap of positions, and then he started closing down on the front group of people, and you're like, okay, what's going to happen here? And he just like kept closing in. Then he overtakes like Dovizioso, overtakes Rossi are up there as well, and he's leading this race in this like 2-year-old Ducati, and I'm like, Is this going to be the day when something just absolutely crazy happens in MotoGP and like a 2-year-old bike or just a driver a rider we never really think that could win a race, he's going to go and do it. But unfortunately for Yoni Hernandez, he did lead the race for like 5 or 6 laps, maybe even a bit more than that, but then he crashed. It was absolutely devastating to watch that. He was so upset. He crashed, and then Rossi and Dovizioso managed to both go past in that instance, and they were battling for the lead of this race then. Rossi and Dovizioso really having a good old scrap over first position. I can't remember who was in third behind. Maybe it was Pol Espargaro, I think, who was just behind as well, who he had a really great race as well. But then we see Daniel Petrucci. He's sort of closing in. He's just sort of bringing down that gap. And incredibly, Daniel Petrucci here manages to just bite into this lead every single lap. And then I think he takes the lead for a little bit, and then he loses it. Dovizioso goes back past, and then he retakes the lead, and then there's a red flag. And obviously, in a red flag instance, you go back to the last lap, the one before. So that means that Petrucci wasn't leading, Dovizioso was leading when the red flag came out. And something we haven't noticed so far in this episode, this video, is that Jorge Lorenzo, battling for this championship, is way down the field. He's just losing positions hand over fist, and it's really, really crazy to see him just drop back. I think he was pretty much dead last at one point, which is absolutely insane considering you could say he's got the equal best machinery on the grid. But this red flag comes out after the rain gets worse and worse and worse. Initially it was damp, then it got much drier, then this downpour came down and there was a red flag. I can't remember if there's like a 35 minute wait as the rain sort of cleared. They got the machinery out to clear the track. Then the restart came about, and it was Dovizioso from Petrucci on the front row of the grid, but Petrucci didn't get a great start. He dropped a few positions. So did Scott Redding, who's actually come back. I think he was like 5th place on the restart. But unfortunately for Petrucci, an incredible day came to an end when his bike just seemed to let go of it, and he just sort of rolled to a stop at the side of the track, which is absolutely devastating for him, obviously. What an incredible race he had done to battle through the field, and let's not forget that bike is not that great, but in the wet conditions it sort of comes alive a little bit. So I'm devastated for Petrucci, as with Yoni Hernandez as well, who obviously had great races until they sort of came to a stop in the race. And Dovizioso, who I can't remember at this point whether he was leading or Rossi managed to grab the lead, but he threw it down. He crashed again. Dovizioso looking strong for a victory, and he put it into the ground. And at this point, loads of people were falling off. And then maybe the biggest shock of the day was that Valentino Rossi, he had quite a big gap. I think it was about 5 seconds. He hit the deck. Rossi out of this race. He tried so hard to get the bike going again, but unfortunately for him, he couldn't. And, well, if he'd basically finished this race, he would have got points. And that could, every little point here could have helped him at the championship towards the end. I mean, now he's quite far back in the championship hunt. But after Rossi crashed, it was actually a lead. Listen to this. It was a lead battle between Marquez, okay, understandable. And Jack Miller, okay? Jack Miller, sort of out of nowhere, is batting for the lead of this race. I knew he had a good start, he did gain a few positions, and I sort of wasn't really thinking, oh, Miller's in this battle too, if anything happens to Rossi, but this battle between Marquez and Miller doesn't go on for that long, because Miller just puts on a great overtake into the last corner. It's a Marquez style overtake on Marquez, and puts himself into the lead of this race with 8 laps to go. And then, ever since that moment in the race, it was pretty calm, to be perfectly honest. Jack Miller driving perfectly towards the end, sorry, not driving, riding perfectly until the end of the race. And I've got to say, guys, for me at least, this is the most incredible MotoGP race I've ever seen. I'm sure many people have watched MotoGP for longer than me, but this race is absolutely incredible. And wow, Jack Miller wins the first win for an independent since 2006, Portugal 2006. Absolutely insane. Marquez comes home in second and looks absolutely delighted with that. I'm pretty sure he's thinking about the championship in that one. And well done to Scott Redding as well, who obviously had a great start, then dropped back, then fought back again. He finished third place. He overtook Pol Espargaro with a few laps to go. So incredible stuff there. Jack Miller wins the 250th Grand Prix, MotoGP I should say, and that's incredible scenes. He's only been in MotoGP for a little bit, and he's gone and got his first win on a bike, which probably shouldn't be doing so. And also Lorenzo, after sort of gaining loads of positions while people fell down, he finished 10th, which is important for the championship. But let me know, guys, if you'd like to see more stuff like this in the future, more reviews of MotoGP races. In my opinion, it was absolutely incredible. Let's see more of that towards the end of the season. Goodbye.